welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, President Buhari offers assurance of his administration's commitment to rescuing remaining Chibok girls in Boko Haram captivity. School children join Bring Back Our Girls group leaders in Abuja. Streets members stage protest in Lagos to increase awareness on fight to release remaining girls in captivity. Federal High Court orders temporary forfeiture of massive currency haul recovered by EFCC from an Ikoyi apartment here in Lagos State. And US military drops biggest non-nuclear bomb on Islamic State group tunnel complex in Afghanistan.
And on Business News tonight, Central Bank of Nigeria raises its weekly forex sales to Bureau de Change operators to $20,000 per retailer.
And in sports news, former Prime Minister of Italy, Silvio Berlusconi, sells one of the country's most successful football clubs, AC Milan, to Chinese consortium.
And from Abuja, House of Representatives to summon more agencies to appear before its committee investigating allegations of undeclared $17 billion of crude oil and liquefied natural gas funds.
Ahead of the third anniversary of the abduction of the Chibok girls by Boko Haram, the President has restated his administration's commitment to ensuring that the remaining girls in captivity are reunited with their families. President Muhammadu Buhari, in a statement, says the release of 24 girls is a testament that rescue efforts are unrelenting. In a goodwill message to the parents of the remaining girls, the President expressed his gratitude to them and Nigerians for their support. The President adds, quote, "As a parent, I'm eternally grateful to God that some of the girls were found alive and have been reunited with their families. Government is doing all within its powers to reintegrate the freed girls to normal life. Furthermore, the government is in constant touch through negotiations and through local intelligence to secure the release of the remaining girls and other abducted persons unharmed." End of quote. The President appealed to the parents and Nigerians not to lose hope on the return of the remaining schoolgirls. Meanwhile, the Bring Back Our Girls group in the nation's capital, Abuja, today continued its week-long activities. And like the days before, the leaders of the movement today took to the streets to express their displeasure over what they consider to be a delay in the rescue of the girls. Today's march was dominated by school children who came out to show solidarity. The leaders of the group also raised concern about the condition of the 24 girls that have regained their freedom from Boko Haram captivity and sought to know how they're being treated.
Abuja's staggering flows of heat gave way to the preamble of a rainstorm. Led by girls even younger than the Chibok schoolgirls, the procession would not be deterred by the storm brewing above. Across generations, an inherent protective zeal is clearly discernible.
You girls are walking in stormy winds. Can you tell me about what it means to you to have an opportunity to join this movement for the Chibok girls?
We're walking in the storm to fight for our Chibok girls. We have the right to fight for them because they're our sisters and we love them. That's why we're fighting for them. And if we don't love them, we won't care about this. But we love them. That's why we're walking in the storm. And it doesn't matter if rain falls. Life is more important than help.
If you could speak directly to the Chibok girls, what would you say to the Chibok girls?
I'll tell them not to lose hope. We are still working on bringing them back, and we shall not rest until they are back.
On the eve of the Chibok abduction's 3rd anniversary, the plight of the 24 rescued Chibok girls captures the heart of the movement.
The girls continue to be sequestered without adequate provision made for the parents or kith and kin of the girls to relate with these girls, because the whole idea of a rehabilitation that's effective is one that enables the person to resume life as it was before they were abducted, and the kind of opaqueness that has surrounded the matter of their rehabilitation therefore does not enable a proper assessment of the adequacy of the program.
Arriving at the destination with an uncanny sense of the moment, young Christabel Ibrahim reminded the movement that the true destination remains a ways away.
Mr. President, act now, we want results. 3 years too long, no more excuses. 3 years too long, no more excuses.
Both the storms of nature and man-made obstacles to progress were defied on this cloudy day. But unmistakably, something bright shone through the prospects for tomorrow. Ajuri Ngelale, Channels Television News.
Now, it's been 3 years since the Bring Back Our Girls group have been mounting a passionate appeal for the release of the remaining girls in captivity. Today, members of the group thronged the Alausa area of the Lagos State Secretariat in a peaceful protest to press home their demands for the release of the girls.
Members of the Bring Back Our Girls group continued with their campaign for the release of the remaining missing 195 Chibok girls. The Ikeja shopping mall is the point of departure as they march along with chants of redemption songs towards the governor's office with the campaign slogan, 3 years is too long. On getting closer to the rallying point, the group is intercepted with barricades by security operatives. Apart from the release of the remaining Chibok girls, the group is also demanding for security of lives in general and school children in particular.
We want safety in our schools, but we want government to be responsible and accountable for every Nigerian child. And that includes not just in the northern part of the country, across the whole country.
That we need results. We need to see the girls. 3 years is too long.
The protesters feel disappointed as the governor fails to show up after an agreed 9 a.m. appointment. But they would not relent until they get a response from the Lagos State government.
We had sent a letter earlier and the letter was acknowledged.
It wasn't long before the Commissioner for Special Duties gets to the scene. He affirms that the Lagos State government stands with the Bring Back Our Girls campaign in fighting for the release of the remaining missing Chibok girls.
The federal government, especially under President Buhari, has not sat back and been indifferent to the plight of these girls. But it wouldn't make much sense until we rescue the very last girl.
The question now is, how much longer will the innocent girls remain in captivity? Clearly, nothing more will be cheerful to this group, and indeed all Nigerians, than for the remaining girls to be rescued alive and eventually reunited with their families.
The federal government says it's proposing an innovation hub for the Northeast and working on the use of technology in solving the humanitarian problems in the area. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, announced this during his visit today to Yola, the Adamawa state capital, where he commissioned some roads constructed by the Muhammad Jibrila administration. The Vice President, who was accompanied on the trip by the Secretary to the Federal Government and the Minister of the FCT, among other dignitaries, was happy about the return of peace to the area.
We started a project with the International Committee of the Red Cross, the American University of Nigeria here in Yola, and other institutions of high learning on how we can use technology to solve the humanitarian problems in the Northeast. The federal government's proposed innovation hub for the Northeast will be here in Adamawa State in partnership with the with the American University and the other institutions. The first step will be a makeathon working with the ICRC's Global Innovation Team, which will give an opportunity to internally displaced persons to become active parts of the process to provide solutions to the problems they face every day using technology. This will give Nigeria an opportunity to work with international organizations to export innovative humanitarian solutions to other parts of the world.
Nigeria's Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo. $1.5 billion is urgently needed for the rehabilitation of victims of the Boko Haram insurgency in northeastern Nigeria. That's according to the Office for Humanitarian Coordination of the UN Systems and the Nigeria Humanitarian Fund. To this end, the UN Resident Coordinator in Nigeria, Mr. Edward Callon, is seeking the support of the private sector in Nigeria towards the realization of this fund to address the critical areas.
The conflict in Nigeria's northeast region has created a humanitarian crisis, especially in worst-hit states of Borno, Adamawa and Yobe states. Almost 1.9 million people, most of whom are children, have been forced to flee their homes. Recent military interventions have seen many returning and getting relief materials from the government, aid agencies and individuals. However, the United Nations believes that the situation requires more investment. At this meeting, UN officials want the private sector to join in the effort of the 75 humanitarian organizations to raise $1.5 billion to deliver life-saving supports.
It is costing now $1.5 million a day to provide food to this population. It costs WFP $46 million a month to provide food to this population. So we're talking of a humanitarian situation of global magnitude. The impact of the crisis is the 4th largest in the world today. Money is one of the engagements we expect at the end of the day, but there is a lot of advocacy the private sector can do. There is a lot of investment the private sector can come in that will help to stabilize this region.
The situation in the northeast could evoke concern from anyone. While this appeal catches the interest of members of the business community, trust regarding the use of funds is, however, a major concern.
And we create trust so that I know that if I spend 1 naira, at the end of the day, it is actually reaching 1 naira is getting to the end. And you can then deduct whatever costs you are, but you know line of sight from beginning to the end. And that's what the private sector is about. They want to know that if I give money, it gets to the end. And we can create that trust.
You can't ever get all the money you need. So there's need for you to incentivize the system so that businesses can go back quickly and support the communities.
According to a UN report, 8.5 million people are in urgent need of humanitarian assistance as a result of the 8-year-old conflict. Of this figure, 6.9 people have been targeted for humanitarian aid in 2017. To bring stability to this region within the shortest possible time, it is imperative that concerted efforts should be made to raise the needed fund.
In the meantime, the Nigerian Army has announced plans to commence an operation in southern Kaduna, parts of Plateau and Kano states to curtail the activities of herdsmen and armed bandits. This is made known by the Chief of Training and Operations, Major General David Ahmadu, adding that the operations will consolidate on the gains made against Boko Haram terrorists in the northeast.
As we are all aware, the Nigerian Army is constantly carrying out training activities for its personnel in line with our constitutional role to aid of civil authority in combating armed banditry, kidnapping, cultism, civil unrest, ethno-religious crisis, as well as other security challenges. Of note is the farmers and herdsmen in southern Kaduna. Operation Harbin Kunama 2 is also designed to consolidate on the total defeat and rooting out of the Boko Haram terrorists from these enclaves, particularly the Sambisa forest.
In part 2, after the break, Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai fires back at the National Assembly, alleging massive sharing of public funds, questions authenticity of Speaker Lugara's payslips. That's in a moment. You stay with us.